boy, stop being lazy. Yeah, and I became creative. And I learned how to create it. And now that pride's for me. So come see. Oh, come eat.
Welcome back to the Silver Lining Podcast. I am your host, Sterlington. This is your co-host, Cameron. And we got a lot to cover, man. The Falcons have had a busy week. NFL had a busy week. But before we get into all of that, what's up with you, Cam? How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, man. It's been a good week. It's been a very eventful week for the Falcons. For myself, pretty cool. The status quo, enjoying it. No news is good news. Looking forward to the 3-day weekend we got coming up.
Boy, yeah. And I had to make it a 3-day weekend myself. So normally I'm working 6 days, but with Labor Day coming up, I'm off on one day, and I was just like, hey, man, fuck that. I can't come this Saturday either, man. I needed that 3-day break. So I'm super excited about that. And it's needed because the football season descends upon us, and I need as much rest as possible before we get on this goddamn roller coaster ride that is the Atlanta Falcons season, boy. Let me tell you. But before we get into the Falcons, though, breaking news happened today. A guy that we was eyeballing. Well, I guess actually now that I think about it, because we didn't cover this on the last episode, it's kind of like the pitfalls of having weeks, doing one episode a week until the season gets back. Is that both guys are two guys that were potential trade targets for the Falcons before the chips fell where they fell with the draft and everything. Trey Hendrickson signed another contract, and today, on August 28th, Michael Parsons is traded from the Dallas Cowboys to the Green Bay Packers for 2 firsts and Kenny Clark, and then he signs a max extension, making him the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history with a 4-year, $188 million deal. So congratulations to him. But whoa,
120 million guaranteed.
120 million guaranteed, 62 mil the first year. Yeah. So Parsons got paid. He's Parsons. But yeah, you got any immediate thoughts about that before we get into the rest of the stuff, Cam?
Now, I know people are talking about, hey, why didn't the Falcons make a move? Why didn't we try to go for Michael Parsons? Hey, you see what it costs. He was never in our price range this year. We already got Kirk on the books. We won't be free from that money until next year. At this point, like we don't have the capital or the players to really leverage that kind of move. So we were never really players for that, especially with our lack of depth. We need we just didn't have it at the time. So who knows what kind of free agents will be available next year? I'm not even really thinking about next year. Like I'm happy for Michael. I'm happy for Mr. Parsons. I like what you did there, Mr. Pastons.
You almost sounded like Jerry right there. What you called him? You ain't called him Michael, did you? Oh, I thought you was out here calling him Michael Parsons. That boy Jerry being petty now. He done traded him. But yeah, no, look. I was always of the mindset, whether it be Trey Hendrickson or Michael Parsons, if the Falcons pull the trigger to get him, I'm happy with it. But if they don't, I'm also happy with it, given you basically burning everything down to try to make it happen to get that person. Now, to be fair, Michael Parsons came a little cheaper on the assets part as far as the trade than I thought. But yeah, 47 million is crazy. Like that's you're gonna have to pull out your best Howie Roseman impression to figure out how you're gonna deal with that one, depending on how your roster set up. And with us, it's important, I think, to just keep in mind that we got a lot of contracts coming up and how to sort that out. It would be nice to have some of these premium positions on rookie deals and also not give up premium picks, because it's like, with where we are currently after having already traded a first rounder to get James Pierce this year, we give up a similar trade. Obviously, that means we don't have a first round pick until like 2028. And matter of fact, no, Probably till 2029, because actually we're already out 26 and then 27, 28. So you don't get a first round pick to 2029. So it's like you're not really replacing that. That's 3 straight years without a 5th year option on the contract. That's 3 straight years where you're not picking in the first round amongst the premier talent in the league. And those picks, let's be real now. The Falcons are a team that has not made the playoffs since 2017. So to be out here forking over that kind of picks for one guy when those picks could be higher picks that most of our picks except for last year have been in the top 10 for the most recent history. So it's like, all right, well, you know, the Packers been making the playoffs. They're trying to push themselves over the hump. Um, Dallas is jerrying around. I also one of the things I was thinking about that a lot of people were saying that they didn't think Parsons was getting traded. I did. I said things between Jerry and Michael were very personal. Um, I'm sorry, y'all. I like making my stupid puns, but yeah, things with them seem real personal. When he put out that long post about everything involving Jerry, I was like, nah, this don't give the feeling of like I'm just acting out to get my way or something. This sound like nah, he don't like Jerry anymore. He don't want to be a part of the Cowboys organization. So hopefully it work out for all parties involved, except for when they play the Falcons. And speaking of the Falcons, final roster cuts happened this week on Tuesday, a couple days ago. So had some surprises, had some not surprises. One of the first surprises that happened was Morgan Fox got cut. He was one of the guys who the Falcons brought in and that for free agency this year. One of the guys who was supposed to be an impact contributor. Ideally, also we gave up Grady Jarrett, so it's like, well, we got to increase production from that position. So it's a little bit of a surprise to see him go. He is a little on the older side, closer to 30. So I mean, and judging by the fact that it's crazy seeing guys how that age go for pass rushing though, because like Morgan Fox, he's 30 and he's having a decline. But I mean, Leonard Floyd's older, but apparently they seen enough from him in camp. They don't even want him, on the field in preseason. Meanwhile, Morgan Fox, he played all 3 preseason games at the end. And I ain't gonna lie, man. I was like, and look, preseason, like I said, it's like the small school rules.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have concern about drafting a player from a small school if he looked like a big fish in a small pond. All right. If he out here setting records because hey, none of these guys can do nothing with him, I'm like, well, yeah, it's because he's that much better than them. So he should be, he's NFL worthy. But Morgan Fox was out there playing with, a bunch of guys that's not gonna be on other teams' roster, and he didn't look like he was dominating them. You know what I'm saying? Like when we had when it was the first preseason game, shit, Brandon Darlis and Albert Evacati was kind of bullying them guys. And I'm like, as you should. These are back. Like, come on now. Come on, as you should. So that's a surprise cut a little bit. Not a ton of surprises as far as cuts, but it was a little bit of some surprises as far as keeps. So I guess conversely, they go one way or the other. And I'm gonna go straight to that cornerback room. I mean, actually, my bad, Cam. Did you have anything about Morgan Fox you wanted to say or add on?
Yeah, I'm like I heard people complaining, like, "Hey, why would you pay $3 million for a guy then cut him?" I mean, I look at it from a glass half full kind of perspective in the sense that, hey, we've drafted enough guys, and if they're playing better than him, that's a good sign. That means we got some youth that has developed, and at this point, what's 3 mil? I mean, we're paying Kirk 40 to sit on the bench.
You don't know, you're just pissing people off. They're like, just because you're digging a hole for yourself, don't mean you dig it deeper just because you're already doing it. But at the same time, I know exactly what you mean, bro. I'm just like, hey man, look, it's some teams, they out here, they cutting third round picks in camp. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly, man.
You know,
Exactly. Dude, we drafted
hey,
Jalen Mayfield in the 3rd round, dog. Come
look,
on now.
and my thing
Like,
is sometimes, hey, it's better to acknowledge you made a mistake early and get out early than to keep banking on that mistake and making it worse. You
the
know what I'm saying?
sunken
Doubling
cost
down.
fallacy, my boy.
Absolutely. So, they I guess they just ain't see enough from him. To warrant keeping him on the roster. Um, So, and I feel like another thing too, when I look at the roster construction, I see we only really have 4 inside linebackers to the roster. So I guess that's a pretty decent indicator that we're gonna be playing either 3-4 looks or 4-2 nickel looks. So we pretty much know what personnel is gonna be all the time. We're not gonna pretty much ever be a 4-3 team. I mean, I just don't see how that's even feasible with the personnel we have. Like, we are not going to be a 4-3 team at all this year. We're going to be a team that's running, them 3-4 looks and those nickel looks with a 4-man front, right? 4 and 5-man fronts. But to get to the secondary, so I'm not gonna lie to you. So backtracking, harping what we were talking about earlier with guys who uh did not dominate in preseason, man. D Alford. Look, D Alford, man, he has been on the ass end of a lot of ass kickings late in my memory. And I remember back in his first year with us, he was pretty good, but it's like honestly, the thing you have to look at D Alford's whole career in totality. And you got to remember that D Alford is an undrafted free agent. He went to Canada and played in Canada, and then we picked him up from the Canadian League, and it's like, damn, maybe we were always putting too much on his plate. Maybe that one year he had that was good was him playing above the mean. And like now he just regressing to the player that was the undrafted corner. And I mean, the fact that we are keeping him on the roster after what we saw last year, after what he's done in camp up to this point, what he's done in preseason. I mean, getting beat by guys that might not make some teams. And I'm like, I don't even think you can reliably roster this guy. Like, I don't think he's gonna be the next man up. But a guy who could have a claim for next man up, who also made the roster, very happy for this one. Natron Two-Tone Brooks making the roster. I'm super
Hey.
excited about that.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody who listens to the podcast on the reg, they know I love this guy. Fell in love with him last year in preseason when we played at Baltimore. My boy was out there tearing it up. He had like 13 tackles, like 2 TFLs. Man, my man was out here. They couldn't run to his side. They couldn't run screens to his side. If it was in front of him, it stopped when he got to the ball, and he got to the ball early. And so I like and they look. I've been hearing Natron been busting ass in camp a little. You know what I'm saying? He was the only guy to pick off Penix in camp. Um, he had a pick in the game against the preseason game against the Titans. The Titans. The Titans. Yes. And I'm happy about that. So hopefully he's the guy getting in instead of D Alford. But like, what say you about that, Cam? Man, you feeling like the Falcons making a good decision or a smart decision keeping D Alford on the roster?
You know what? Um, like you said, I'm more excited about Natron Brooks making a 53-man roster than D Alford. But given the state of our practice squad, I'm not too worried about it because like I feel like a couple guys who didn't make the team but still have some potential could maybe come up and usurp him. But at this point, the I'm hoping the guys ahead of him stay healthy so he don't have to see the field.
Well, that's what I'm saying about him, though.
But
Like,
then again, what if the coaching staff seeing something that we ain't seeing, bro? Like it has been preseason, but bro,
That's
you
what you
say
always got
stuff.
to consider. You always got to consider, hey, maybe it's more to the story than what we know, because all we seeing is that one play. And look, to be fair to Alford, because I done jumped on him pretty hard. Uh, it was a lot of times last year where they really put a lot of stress and conflict on his responsibilities. It was really situations that he was in that I'm like, most corners would get beat on this situation. You know what I'm saying? Where
Mm-hmm.
they running these plays where he getting walled off, where they screening him off, and he has to switch responsibilities. The call is to switch responsibility, and so he's supposed to pass a guy off when he's in man coverage, and it's like, all right, that's a lot. But some of the times I think he was in zone, and it's like, well, if you read the concept right, you would have been in the right place at the right time. But you know what? That could also be a Jimmy Lake thing. And that's another thing too, where you talk about the camp. We don't know what's going on in camp. So, maybe they're running different stuff in camp and they just being vanilla out there and he getting beat on some stuff that's like whatever. But I think we got to consider that maybe he was getting his ass kicked because I guess to jump ahead before we go over the practice squad players, had some major announcements about rookies starting on defense. Now, Cam, I want to tell the folks what we heard about who's going to be starting for us on defense, the rookies. Psst. Hey, Cam, you seeing this shit?
Oh yeah, I think I am. What is that?
That's a person watching this podcast that hasn't subscribed. Subscribe. The button's down below.
Hey man, Raheem has come out and stated that Billy Bowman and Xavier Watts will be starting for us.
All right, yeah. So guess D Alford might be good enough to stay on the team, but he ain't good enough to keep his spot.
Mm-hmm.
And now what I'm trying to figure out uh, is Bowman the best, or are they trying to inject youth in certain great places? Because what I'm trying to figure out is, you know, why isn't Brooks starting and why is Bowman starting? Nothing against Bowman, obviously. I'm rooting for I'm rooting for the cream. Whatever cream rises, that's what I'm rooting for. But
I'm thinking it has to.
go ahead.
I'm I'm thinking it has to do with potential,
Yeah.
considering like we kind of know what we already got with their gameplay. We kind of know how good they will be. We don't know with Xavier Watts. We don't know with Billy Bowman Jr. So we kind of got to, and if the competition level is similar, like if they're neck and neck for the position, to a sense we're like, you can flip a coin and like at this point, I'm gonna go with the Rook because the Rook I know can at least get better.
Yeah, look, that's conventional wisdom, man. You look, if it's close, you go with the young one because like he don't know nothing. He's still wet behind the ears in the NFL. You know what I'm saying? I'm not about to go and say, all right, yeah, let me go ahead and pick the old guy who on his way out, and I already know this is as good as it gets for him. But at the same time, man, look, it's a dicey year. And the way things start now,
It is.
and we got a lot of moving parts. Still unknown on the offensive line with Ryan Newsel. And I guess we're jumping back on fourth round, but we haven't addressed the elephant in the room on our podcast. I mean, it's old news now, but Caleb McGarry's out for the season. Caleb McGarry is out for the season. So I think a lot of things not gonna look the ideal way to start. Obviously I think the plan is for us to play with leads. And that'll be, more helpful to helping the rookies acclimate. But I think, right now you might need to make sure that you're putting your best 11 out there at all times. Because this is gonna be important that we get stops some of these times. We start out the year with quite a challenge for both of them rookies. We're gonna be starting with Tampa, but then we get the Vikings, and then we get Carolina, and then Washington, and then Buffalo. So these guys gonna get tested early and often.
Oh,
Uh,
absolutely. It's going to be trial by fire.
Yeah, yeah. And I saw that DeMarco Hellams was the third safety. I think he's basically I think he's essentially a starter too. He's just basically going to be the big nickel.
Mm-hmm.
Also, speaking of which, Braylon Trice got moved to IR. So from what I've seen, the plan is to bring Jordan Fuller back in as another safety. So that'll give us what four safeties. Now, I don't think Braylon Trice's injury or his injury designation is necessarily like actually representative of him being hurt. I think we talked about this before. You were like you think it's a ramp up, and I think I pretty much agree that it's a ramp up because it's like I think they're just playing roster shenanigans. You know what I'm saying? If he gotta be on IR, he can't come back for a certain time. If somebody get hurt during that time, they can drop them on IR and then bring him off of IR, and it's just roster shenanigans, I think. But before we get back to the O line, though, practice squads got announced. I'll go ahead and go over the names, and then we can see if there's anybody we want to talk about. So, CJ Henderson, the late pickup, played well on the practice squad. Dylan Drummond had a decent preseason. Joshua Gray, Ronnie Harrison Jr., another camp pickup. Brandon Parker, Joshua Simon, Kentavia Street, Easton Stick, Chris Blair, Nick Nash, Kobe Bryant, Carlos Washington Jr., Khalid Kareem, Carter Warren, who we just signed this week on the offensive line, Ryan Hayes, and Lenny Craig with an international player designation are all on the practice squad for the Falcons. So glad we got pretty much that team. Anybody there on the practice squad that we missed out on that you wish we had there, anything like that?
No one in particular. I'm liking the way our practice squad is filled out. I like that we got CJ Henderson. On the off chance the cornerback gets hurt, I think he'll be able to fill in sufficiently. Like Dylan Drummond as well. He showed great tape during preseason. Chris Blair, Nick Nash. These are I'm liking that. So if we ever need somebody to step up, I'm
Oh, you
guys
can.
who have some at least some kind of chemistry with Michael Penix. So that's nice. I'm really happy that we got Lenny Craig. Don't get me wrong, I am a Koo truther. I like Koo. I believe in Koo. But I do realize that Koo does not have the strongest leg, and that's okay. But anything within 55, you got to be money from. You have to be. And if Koo starts missing, starts dipping, his form starts dipping, at least we know we have somebody capable lined up. Because hey, if we're keeping it a buck, Kirk Cousins and Young Wei kind of lost us the most amount of games last year.
Yep, I agree.
Granted, I'm not gonna put it all on Young Wei. He was hurt. He was hurt. He was hurt, and he
Kirk
was
too,
put in
yeah.
positions to make kicks when he couldn't. Yeah, but like, hey, it is what it is now. But we're gonna see how it plays out this year. Let's just say that I'm glad we are. I'm glad we have a nice contingency plan just in case. So, how
Yeah,
about you, man? How you feeling about this practice squad?
so I'm pretty pleased. The main reason I'm pleased is because obviously when it's time to do your 90-man roster cuts, there's always some camp favorites that you had that you got to see as a fan. People you were excited they signed, people who you saw in preseason and they played well, and then they always end up not clearing waivers or going with somebody else's team. Like I remember JD McKissick, and he returned the kick for us for a touchdown, and then he went on to have a position change from wide receiver to running back. Has had a pretty decent career for himself. But it started here, and it would have been nice to been able to keep that and be a part of his story in the part of the season that matters. But with this year, we pretty much got to keep all of our prized undrafted free agents, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
Kobe Bryant is still there, Joshua Gray still there, Nick Nash is still there, Joshua Simon still there. The people we picked up in camp that played decently well, we still kept all of them. So nothing really to complain about. We even kept Kentavia Street, who he's probably going to be playing at some point. Health withstanding, obviously, but also I guess now that I mention it, actually, it is a little bit of a surprise. For those who only listening, I'm doing quotes really hard because it's not really that much of a surprise. But I didn't really see LaCale London that much in the preseason, and LaCale London made the 53, and Kentavious Street, who we did see in the preseason, did not. Now I've actually liked LaCale London since we've had him. I kind of want to see LaCale London a little more. It's always hard to justify seeing certain players more because it's like, well, I can't put him in over Grady. I can't put him in over Anyamata.
No, I
Probably
got
shouldn't put him in over our young guys that we got now, like Doralus and Aurora. But I like LaCale. Not as much as like Natron, but I'm like, yeah, let's get this dude some reps. So now I think they're trying to figure out a role for him. Because they got Kentavious Street on the practice squad, but they do have LaCale London on the active 53, so I like that. So yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say about the practice squad. Just glad that we were able to keep all of our prize free agents. Obviously, they can get poached at any time. I don't think anybody outside of like maybe Khalid Kareem put out so much tape that somebody about to poach him for a meaningful role if they have an injury replacement or something. But and like to poach him and bring him to their active roster. I think we should be good on that. Maybe for Kentavious Street or CJ Henderson, but that's about it.
okay.
Yeah, but back to one of the most important parts of our season. Caleb McGarry decided opted to have surgery on his knee, or his leg. He said he was been dealing with that issue since high school. And so the Falcons have traded a 5th-round pick for a former Seattle Seahawk and Michael Jarrell. They also picked up Carter Warren, who's on the practice squad, signed to our practice squad. In our offensive line battle in his stead appears to come down to Elijah Wilkinson and Jack Nelson. I mean, I heard Elijah Wilkinson, Jack Nelson, and Brandon Parker. But Brandon Parker's on the practice squad, so I'm assuming the battle's not including him. And if it did include him, and that's what we was rolling with, shit, man, not to be dramatic, man, but I'm like, man, who getting fired for this shit? Because I like something like for real, man. Because look, I've been calm and shit. Like this is not doing it for me. You need a sense of urgency. You need a sense of urgency because like when we think about what's the like really put the scope on what's going on with that right tackle part, right? You got Elijah Wilkinson. He is not a tackle. He has played tackle in the past, so like he has a history, but he hasn't played tackle in ages, and that's because they had him play that, and they said, hey, you better as a guard to be a guard. So now you got him. You got a rookie who's a 7th-rounder, or Brandon Parker, undrafted. That's what we doing. Like, do we not remember? 2016 when Vic Beasley got to go against Ty Sambrailo, and they just happened to get a little bit behind, so now they got to throw the ball a bunch, and now Vic Beasley just beating Ty Sambrailo like a mixed race redheaded stepchild. Like, yeah, but anyway, Vic Beasley was abusing that guy. And I'm like, yeah, do y'all not, did we forget about last year when you had to leave Caleb on an island against TJ Watt? And then, and look, not to harp on stuff that we harped on last time, but hey, man, Zach Robinson going to be the real determining factor in how a lot of that shit go. I'm going to just need to, if they don't sign anybody else, but I see a concerted effort in the play calling department to mitigate damages caused by what the changes in our depth at that position, I'll tolerate it because obviously the move to get Michael Jarrell, something else we talked about last week, right? Are they replacing Caleb McGarry or are they replacing Storm Norton? And they opted to replace Storm Norton. So I guess Michael Jarrell gonna just be here and be a swing tackle until Storm Norton get back. Then he gonna come in and fill in for Caleb. But yeah, man, I got thoughts about that, man. What's your thoughts on this O-line rigmarole we doing?
Uh, if if MPJ mess around and get hurt because of this,
Oh my God,
let's just say heads gonna roll.
boy.
Let's just say heads gonna roll, my boy. Let's just say it, man. Because hey, they keep talking about hey, he gonna carry us. Our offense is gonna carry us. Hey, who is protecting his blind side? We got these turnstiles protecting him. So I get what you're saying. Like, hey, we're gonna wait till Storm Norton get back, but I don't think that's the correct move. I think you and granted, I understand. We just gave Caleb that extension,
Yep.
but you need to think if you want to actually contend for the season, if you want to actually be playing for your job, coaching for your job, GMing for your job, you need to really address this right tackle situation. And I don't feel like it's being adequately addressed. I feel like we're just throwing numbers at the problem, and I think we should be throwing quality at the problem. Like I don't know, there are plenty of teams who have surplus offensive linemen, and I feel like we could try somebody a little bit more quality than this. We'll see. We have another week until the season starts, and we'll see if we make another addition. I think Matthew Judon was after was he? I think he was a post. I think he was a post preseason edition as well, or it might have been an end of training camp. I can't remember, but
I can't remember. I think he was in the training camp, but not
like
in
same
the
with Justin Simmons as well. So
yeah, Justin
we
Simmons gonna
we've
be
made late additions before, and we got like, a little bit of cap space. Hey, I think we should do something about this, but we'll see. Maybe we have enough to where we can mitigate this, but right now I haven't seen enough.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, brother. I don't know about this, but I mean, right now, I mean, look, the Bucks not really the best pass rushing team out there, so maybe we can figure something out for that game. And then we get the Vikings. Now the Vikings are a lot better of a pass rushing team, but then we get the Carolina Panthers, not so much. Then we get the Washington Commanders, not so much. Then we get the Bills. It depends on the day. You know, sometimes the Bills are going to be good at getting pressure. Sometimes they're not as good. So for them first 5 games, I mean, look. Now I know y'all don't heard me get the hooping and hollering, and I was like, hey man, we got the fire tank. And you goddamn right I was. But it's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the world. It's it maybe it could be, but it's not the end of the world. With the right play calling, and if we have the right guy out there, we can tread the ship, tread water, and do it. Now the thing is, like we talked about last week, it's all I think part of the reason why it feels uh so pressure filled is because um so much of this is going to be on Michael Penix Jr.'s shoulders now. It's like, whoa, we really depending on him to be our savior because he's going to have to come in and he's going to have to pick up from where Kirk was falling off last year. Oh, yeah, and he got a backup center that's his starter now. Oh, yeah, and he got, his right tackle out right now. So the run game's going to be negatively impacted. So he's going to really have to carry us with his arm. You know what I'm saying? But, shit, if he really that guy and we got to wait, then it'll sort itself out. But that's just the hopes for now. But let's not be all negative. Let's not be all negative because we waited all off season, almost time for the regular season to be back. And speaking of returns and coming back, Darnell Mooney returned to practice. He's back at it again.
Mm-hmm.
And so that would be huge because I don't know he'll if he plays he'll probably be on the pitch count. Can't imagine them getting him back this week and then he's ready to play a full session of games next week. But that's another weapon that we'll have back in our host to pull out sometimes, and that's gonna be important because look, we don't know about what this defense is gonna be. They starting some young guys. It's a different scheme. We weren't that great last year. We might have some growing pains. So we're gonna need all the weapons we can get. And so getting Darnell Booney back to really get to play with Pitts, because him and Pitts really only played like a game and a half together. And Mooney's the speed guy. So yeah, let's see how that thing go. So yeah, before we get out of here, just want to talk about the schedule ahead, which we kind of already did like all throughout, because we know we're not going to talk about the whole season, obviously. Maybe we'll save that for next week when the season's right up on us. But first 5 games coming out of the gate, given the situations are where they are, how you think things about to shake out to start out the year right now, Cam?
Caleb McGarry has me a little apprehensive about our start. I'm not too happy about our quarterback's blind side and how it's being protected. I don't think it's being addressed the way I think it should be addressed. But aside from that, man, I'm pretty optimistic. I'm liking how our team is filling out. These last 2 drafts, 2024 and 2025, are really going to decide if Terry gets fired or not. It's these 2 draft classes, because this one we got a lot of rookies who are a lot of first and second year players who are getting a lot of game time, and they are going to have to be the depth of this team. They're going to have to put these minutes in. They're going to have to shine. It's going to be trial by fire. We're going to find out real quick. We got a gauntlet to start this season. Like, the start of our season is going to be extremely difficult. We're going to be playing playoff caliber teams. And right now, I'm gonna be honest, I kind of got us starting off like 1-4, 1-5. But if we when is our bye week? Week 6, week 7?
Bye week is week shit. I think it's week 6. I think we play those 5 games and then we have a bye after, so I believe it's week 6.
If we 3-2 going into the bye, I'll be happy. If we 2-3 going to the bye, I'll be happy. If we like 1-4,
yeah,
I'll be like, all right, 1-4 is to be expected.
Rough.
1-4 is like, all right, I kind of expected this. If we 1-5, I'm like, all right.
And look, I don't know which version of San Fran we getting, so we'll see how that shake out too.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely correct, man. So we'll see. We'll see how we are by that bye.
Yeah, I'm pretty much feeling the same way, man. I'm like, I just want to see them. Well, I ain't gonna lie. I think they're gonna, I will say predictions for next week, but I think they're gonna have to at least catch the division. So they're going to catch the Bucks and the Panthers to start the year out. But I think as long, I think we still got enough in the tank with what we have, with the weapons we have. I think Zach Robinson, and look, we're not the highest on him, but I do expect him to improve. And he's not the worst guy, and we do have good players. So I think Todd Bowles, he gonna probably try to switch it up, be a little more aggressive to get after Penix for the first game. But I think Penix is about to really have a coming out party a little bit, in the sense that Penix gonna be able to handle the blitz. Penix gonna be able to handle pressure. It's just we're gonna need to see Penix handle the shorter passing game a little bit more. But if we can keep these games close and just let Penix do his thing in the fourth quarter, I think we'll be happy with where we are after the first 5 games going into the bye.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, look, we're pretty much out of time now. Been fantastic talking with you guys. Thanks for hanging out with us. Anything you want to say before we get out of there, Cam?
It's been a pleasure.
All right. Well, look, you guys know the drill by now. One, stay safe over this weekend. Enjoy having this Labor Day weekend. Please like, subscribe, share, comment, and hit the little bell when you want to hit some real niggas uploading. Peace.